Welcome to my Monday morning mindset motivation. I'm Georgie Hubbard and I am so excited that you decided to spend the start of your week with me. Let's set you up with the mindset it takes to lead. Hello and welcome to another episode of my Monday morning mindset motivation. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and you are excited to start this wonderful new week ahead. So today I thought I would talk to you about something that I'm actually really passionate about, and that is reading. Now, I have read a lot of books. I worked out the other day, I've actually now read over 100 books over the last 5 years, and they have mostly been around motivation, mindset, psychology, self-awareness, personal development. So I've really, I guess, equipped myself with a lot of knowledge over the years. And I sat there and I thought, what have been my key takeaways? What are some common themes that just keep on coming up as I'm reading? And look, I could stand here all day and talk to you about all the amazing books that I've read and how they changed my life, but I thought I would do something today that I haven't done before, and that's break it down into 5 lessons that I have learned from doing all of this reading and development. And what are my 5 key things that I now implement and I do day to day, that have really impacted and improved my life. So without delaying any more time, the first lesson from reading over 100 books is this: self-awareness is the key to self-mastery. When I began to understand myself at a deeper level, when I began to know my values, what was important to me, when I began to realize what brought me joy, when I began to really just pause and ask myself some key questions, my life really started to make sense. And through this process, it was a little bit of a wake-up call, but I realized that I was in a job that gave me very little fulfillment. Now, that was a really tough pill to swallow. And I was constantly chasing things, material things, handbags, new cars, bigger homes, to really ultimately fill a hole, because I wasn't aware of actually what I wanted and what brought me joy. So through a process of self-awareness, getting to know myself, what really drove me, what really brought me joy, I realized quite a few things. That I was in a job, like I said, that gave me no fulfillment, that I wanted more freedom, that I wanted to live outside of a city. I actually grew up in the country, in the UK, a little village just outside of Oxford. And I wasn't used to big city, and I wasn't used to the noise. I was used to fields and greenery and nature. And I realized that when I really felt at my happiest, it was when I was walking in nature, and lots of other things that I really enjoyed that didn't cost much. So I was in this really well paid sales job, um, working 5 days a week, constantly like striving for the next pay slip, and then wondering why when I hit it, I didn't feel any happier. So it wasn't until I took a step back to really think, well, what does Georgie want? What makes Georgie happy? That my life really started to make sense. And then from there, I obviously took the action, I visualized, I began to design the life that I wanted to live. And I'm really passionate now about helping other people develop the self-awareness, because I believe that when we are self-aware, we can really master our lives, and we then can start setting the bigger goals. We then can really start striving for the things in life that will ultimately bring us more joy and fulfillment. So that's lesson number 1, self-awareness. Lesson number 2, the present moment is all there is. Now, going back to my early 20s, I had a habit of, striving for things. As I just said, saying, when I get this, I'll be happy. When this thing happens, I'll feel amazing. And ultimately, when the day came, I still felt empty. And it wasn't until I really began a mindfulness practice and I really began to just realize what is life about? Life is about experiences, it's about memories. If I say to you right now, think about something that's happened over the last few months that you can be really grateful for, and an image and a vision and a memory might come to mind. Now, why that memory stands out so much is because you were really present. Day to day, we can just go through the motions of, the hamster wheel of life. We go to work, or, well, when we used to go to work, but there's life just kind of like, just can kind of just bumble along. And it's the key moments that really stand out to us. And that's because we were so present. We can always remember our holidays. We can always remember our weekends away, our time spent with friends, because we're in the moment. And I believe that if you live more of life in the present, if you become more mindful, if you become more aware of those key, beautiful moments in life, you will become happier. And it wasn't until I began to really take note of how I was feeling in any given task that, again, my life really began to become even more joyful. Because no matter what the task, I was just always just fully engaged in it. I wasn't multitasking. I wasn't thinking about being elsewhere. And I think when you're really in flow, you just feel good, and life again just begins to really start to just get better. So the present moment is all there is. And if you don't like the present moment, well, first of all, you have to accept. You have to go, okay, I'm not happy where I am right now. Acknowledge that. And the beautiful thing is, when you acknowledge it and you're aware of something, you have the power to change it. So if you don't want to be in the present moment right now because your life isn't where you want it to be, well, then again, it all comes back to self-awareness and go, okay, what would a great life look like? And what can I do today to make that step forward? So again, it's a process. So go back to self-awareness if you think, I'm not happy in my life right now, but give yourself grace. This is a process, and you can't expect to have all of the answers straight away. So just breathe, appreciate what you can, be grateful for the present moment, and work on your self-awareness every single day. My third biggest lesson, I read a lot of books, and there was just a common theme coming up around people who start their day. They rise before the sun, they wake up and they're intentional, they exercise, they meditate, they have all of these habits and really good routines. So 5 years ago, I began to rise at 5 a.m. Now, I remember the first time I set my alarm for 5 a.m. It was a cold Melbourne winter morning, and the last thing I wanted to do was get up and out of bed. But I did it because I realized that if I really want to live an extraordinary life, I have to be prepared to do what others won't. Now, over the years of getting up at 5 o'clock, I can honestly say that it is very, very easy for me now to wake up at 5. In fact, most days I'm up before my alarm. It's like clockwork, but I have an evening routine as well. So I'm always make sure that I don't have any screens now before bed. I eat 3 hours before bed. I have a nice cool room, and I go to bed similar times each night, and I rise every day now at 5 a.m. Even on Sundays, sometimes I have to actually force myself to stay in bed. But, I most of the time I just want to get up. I want to get started. I want to enjoy my day. So, but instead of just getting up, I'll probably just sit and read for an hour or something. But rising early. Now, why is that important? Because everybody always says the same thing to me. Georgie, I want more time. And the first question I say, well, what time do you get out of bed this morning? 8 o'clock. Right. Well, maybe just start getting up just 10 minutes earlier. Just rise 10 minutes earlier each day. That's what I did. I just slowly took it back 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes every week. And over the course of the few weeks, the 4 weeks, it naturally just became easier for me just to regain that hour that I wanted. So just start with just waking up 10 minutes earlier every day and just taking some more time for you. I think that's the key thing here, is that when we get up early and we make more time for ourselves, our lives just, they become more joyful. We can be more intentional. And then when we make more time for ourselves, we then can be better parents, better husbands, better wives, better friends, better co-workers, better leaders. So rise early, have a morning routine. I love to start my morning with an affirmation saying something like, today's going to be an amazing day. I'm so lucky to be alive. What am I grateful for? Then I'll do some form of exercise. I'll read, I'll consume, I'll fill my mind with goodness. I'll be very intentional with how I want to show up that day. And I always finish with a nourishing breakfast. So if you haven't listened to my Awaken formula, I go into more detail about that. So definitely go and check out one of my older podcasts around the Awaken formula. My fourth lesson is that happiness is always a choice. Now, this is a really tough one for me to really digest. And I read a book called The Courage to Be Happy. And basically, the whole point of it is that instead of looking for validation and happiness in external factors, one thing that we can all be doing is really going within, because it is the relationship that we have with ourselves, that intuition, that's where our happiness comes from. And again, it is not an easy thing to do, especially with a lot of chaos and uncertainty going on in the world right now. But happiness is always a choice, and we can choose how we want to feel. Now, there are a few things that you can do if you are in a very negative thought pattern at the moment. And one of those things is, you can be more intentional with how you want to feel. Write down 3 words or 3 emotions that you want to feel each day. Start a journal practice, meditate, put on your favorite songs that instantly boosts my mood. Exercise. There's so many things that we can do day to day to instantly improve our energy and how we feel. But ultimately, if you press somebody enough, if you say, why do you want that? Why do you want this? Why do you want that? I call it the 5 whys. You will always get the same answer. I want to be happy. But we have all of these restrictions. We have all of these things that say, no, I can't be happy because of this, and I can't be happy because of that, and I'll be happy when. How many times have you said that? Well, I'm asking you this week just to wake up every day and say, today I choose to be happy, because life is too short to not be. So happiness is a choice. It is not always an easy one, but I truly believe that when we have an attitude of gratitude and we learn to appreciate, and we come from a place of appreciation over lack, even in our darkest of days, we can always find something to be grateful for, or someone to be grateful for. So think about that. And finally, my last lesson, this was a big one for me: progress over perfection. Now, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I've always focused on, I've got to get it right. It's got to be perfect. Everything's got to be just so. And for my 20s, I really struggled with this. Oh, I can't start my business now because I don't know enough. And, oh, no, my body's not perfect. And, but at the end of the day, no one is perfect. And having this illusion of perfection is just the biggest way to strip away joy. It is the biggest way that we find ourselves procrastinating in life. So I now have a mantra, and I say to myself, progress over perfection. No, this podcast isn't perfect. No, I've stumbled over my words. No, my writing might not have all the right full stops and the commas in the right places. But you know what? I don't care, because I'm showing up every single day and I'm going for it, and I'm really enjoying the process. And I tell you what, it is a freeing, liberating way to live your life when you do not worry about what other people think and you don't constantly criticize yourself. After everything that I do, whether it's a podcast recording, whether it's a blog, I always say to myself, Georgie, that was amazing. Now, I'll just say that to myself straight afterwards, and then a few hours later, I might go back and I might think, oh, okay, I maybe could do that bit better, or I maybe could written that sentence a little bit differently. But I never, ever criticize myself straight afterwards, because it's the quickest way to knock your self-belief, to knock your self-confidence. And I really want to build my courage and build my confidence. So I always say to myself, that was amazing. And then I'll go back and I'll be, okay, well, where can I improve? Where can I get better? But I never criticize myself. And that's a really key point there, because I think we are our own worst enemies. We constantly look for all the negatives. And, how many times have you gone to do something or thought about doing something, thought, oh, I'm not ready yet? Well, that's your perfectionism. That's your inner critic saying to you that you're not ready. And I'm here to say you have got a unique gift that the world needs right now. So do not let your perfectionism and your inner critic stop you from living the life that you deserve. So they are my 5. I got into a bit of a passionate conversation there, but it is. I've read so many incredible books. I highly recommend you go and you read, you fill your mind with great knowledge. I think books are incredible. They are very affordable, and people have literally just poured their life's work into books. And if you're not a big reader, you can now listen to audiobooks. Amazing. So yeah, look, I'll put some books that I recommend in the show notes as well. I'm gonna write a blog about this as well. But I really hope that serves today. I hope you got a lot from that. And they are my top 5 lessons. Have an amazing week ahead. I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Take care and have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for listening to the Mind to Lead podcast. I really hope you got some great takeaways and key learnings from this episode. To help us spread the message, please give us a rating and leave us a review. We love reading your thoughts and your insights and your learnings. And look, reach out to me. Reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Georgie Hubbard. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Georgie L. Hubbard. Let's connect. I hope you have an incredible day, and I look forward to speaking to you all again soon.